I've recently flown with both Jet2 and Thomas Cook, two companies offering package holidays around Europe and the rest of the world. But they're not the biggest. That award goes to TUI, the world's largest leisure company. And today I'm flying with the Airline down to Mallorca, one of Europe's busiest and most popular holiday destinations. Today I'll share with you the good and the bad about my trip, but first of all let's check out the departures area. Welcome to Blake Edgington Airborne. Let's get going. So here we are back at my second home, about to become one of over 380,000 people who fly between Birmingham and Palma every year, and if you're flying with TUI you'll find they're really easy to spot check-in area through door B. Incidentally, the TUI desk used to belong to one of my favourite airlines, Monarch, before they sadly stopped flying. Now you'd think after all the times I've featured Birmingham Airport in a video I'd have some special access from the airport by now, but sadly I'm still waiting on that call. Anyway, back to this trip, and I had just over an hour in the departure lounge to relax before my flight. As I've said before, Birmingham has a good selection of shops and restaurants to visit, and the airport has started work to expand the terminal, offering a larger and more modern space. Fingers crossed the new terminal will still offer great views of the aircraft. So that's Birmingham Airport. Not much has changed since my last visit. I do come through here quite often, but if you've not been through here before, there's certainly plenty to keep you occupied before your flight. Now I'm very much looking forward to this particular flight today, as the 757 is one of my favourite aircraft. They're not going to be around in the TUI fleet for much longer, and also gives me fond memories of my first trips as a child. So let's head out to the plane now. TUI UK is the largest of 6 airlines in the TUI group, mostly flying the Boeing 737 around Europe and the 787 Dreamliner further afield, both of which I've reviewed before. The 757 that I'm on board today is due to be replaced by the Boeing 737 MAX, although for widely publicised reasons this won't be happening anytime soon. So while it's still around, let's enjoy the experience on board this aircraft. Before I show you the cabin, what does it cost to fly this route? Well, if you book in the peak summer season with short notice, it's not what you call cheap, but book early and you can save money. For example, my flight sent me back £79 including an extra legroom seat, which I will show you soon, but first let's see what the 757 has to offer. TUI provides space for up to 221 passengers on board their 757 in an all-economy class cabin. This particular aircraft is 16 years old, with blue lighting adding a modern touch, although the overhead lockers quickly remind you of the jet's age. Above each row are reading lights and air vents, but the cleanliness here was less than impressive. Back when I was a child you could watch in-flight entertainment with TUI, and the now deactivated volume controls are a nice reminder. Of course I visited the toilets in flight, which were quite spacious compared to some of the newer aircraft that I've experienced recently. Like their competitors, TUI offer a buy on board menu for flights in Europe, and I personally found the selection to be quite impressive and reasonably priced. Now on my recent Air Europa flight I chose a croissant for breakfast instead of pizza, just like most grown-ups would. That decision did not please my wife at all, so for the sake of my marriage I followed her instruction and ordered TUI's pizza wrap, which when served looked a little different to the picture in the menu. I did like that the crew provided cutlery for my food, and the refreshing towel was a nice touch, but sadly the table was so dirty I ended up using it to clean with. Now this was the aircraft's first flight of the day, so it was very disappointing. To raise my spirits, I tried my luck at some charity scratch cards, and clearly it was not my lucky day. We're in the cruise now over France, cabin service is all finished, so let's take a moment to check out the seat that you could expect to find on board the TUI 757. Ordinarily here I would show you the seat selection screen from the airline's website, however when flying with TUI this is not an option until after you've booked your ticket. Basically if you have a preference of seat, it's a bit of a gamble when booking with TUI. Thankfully I did manage to secure the seat that I wanted for this flight, and an extra legroom one at that. I'll explain why in a moment. But overall the seat design itself is quite simple. There's nothing very modern or unique about it compared to some of the other aircraft that I've flown on recently. The tray table, as dirty as it was, is a very generous size, and there's a large indentation to keep a drink secure, which did come in handy on this quite bumpy flight. Although it's a good size, you can see that the tray table isn't adjustable in any way. If we take a look a little further down the seat now, you'll see there is plenty of room in the large literature pocket for your personal items, and of course the 757 safety card, the TUI in-flight menu, onboard shopping selection, and the Discover in-flight magazine, which we'll take a look at soon. Now why did I book an extra legroom seat? Well, you can see that even for someone 6 foot tall there is plenty of space for me personally, and a regular economy seat is very cramped with around 28 inches of seat pitch, which would have made this flight a little bit uncomfortable for me. With onboard entertainment being a thing of the past on this flight, I instead took a look at the Discover in-flight magazine, which was quite an interesting read. First stop for me of course was the TUI route map displaying the countries served by the airline, and there was a handy guide on when to visit popular destinations. The magazine also contained an interesting interview with the pilot, and I was pleased to see TUI encourage passengers to interact with the airline on social media. Of course I use social media to keep all of my viewers up to date with the latest video news and my flights as they happen. You can also support the channel directly through Patreon, and top tier supporters like Laurie Davies even get a mention in upcoming reviews. Not long to go now, we're just passing overhead Barcelona, we'll be on the ground in a few minutes. Don't forget to stick around at the end of the video for my final thoughts on today's trip. For now, enjoy the landing. And that's it. Welcome to Palma here in Mallorca after that flight with TUI. This is the part of the video that I'll share with you my final thoughts on today's experience. Kicking things off in Birmingham, and I go through there an awful lot. If you follow this channel, you'll know that. Nothing's changed recently, but it's not a bad place to spend a couple of hours before your flight. Speaking of the flight, now I was looking forward to this one for quite a while because I'm a big fan of TUI, and also to fly in the 757 was a big bonus for me as well. Now the flight itself was fantastic, frankly. The cabin crew, first of all, were incredibly good, probably the best I've had in 2019 on a flight. They were very engaging, nothing seemed to be too much trouble for them. They were smiling in the cabin, they were just seemed to be having a good time, which was nice to see. Also, really big mention must go to the pilots, who were incredibly informative on today's flight. We had a bit of a delay in Birmingham due to some missing passengers, which meant that the bags had to be found. We knew all about it because they told us. Then during the flight, it was quite turbulent in places, and every time the seatbelt sign went on, an announcement followed and the pilots let us know exactly what was going on and why. So big thumbs up to them. Now the aircraft, the 757's been around for a while now, and pretty sadly it won't be around for much longer, particularly in the TUI fleet. I really like it. Now there's some little touches on there, of course aren't as modern or as impressive as some of the aircraft I've been on recently, but little touches that TUI have put in, such as the LED lighting, do make a difference, and overall it was a really comfortable place to be, in particular the seat that I had. Now it was an extra legroom seat, so I did pay a little bit more for it, but for me it was well worth the money. Sadly, the seat and other areas of the cabin though were showing a little bit of wear, and that's mainly just down to cleanliness. As you'd have seen from the video, there's quite a bit of dirt around my seat here, which is pretty disappointing because it wouldn't take much to sort that out. But overall, as I said earlier, this was a great flight, and I really do hope I get the opportunity to fly with TUI on the 757 again. Now, as I said at the start of this video, I've flown with TUI, Thomas Cook and Jet2 recently. Now, everybody has their personal favourite for a number of reasons, mainly because that's what they're used to. And for me, TUI will always be my personal favourite because it reminds me of my childhood. Let me know what you think in the comment section below though. Who's your favourite leisure airline? Of course, if you haven't already, do hit that thumbs up button and do subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so that you never miss a future video. And most of all, take care.